Good afternoon, everybody. Congratulations. You've made it to Friday. This is the Friday edition of Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I'm your host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
And we get together every single day, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, right here in this spot, and give you our favorite plays or farm play, talk to you guys in real time, and generally try to have a little fun, Scott. And how did your Thursday go, sir?
Overall, went pretty well. It was one of those days where I wasn't really interested in betting anything, and everything that I liked won.
Okay.
So I dabbled on a couple of things. I did have the under in the Rangers-Lightning game, which was really never in doubt.
Nope.
I'm a little bit annoyed, though, because the last two games, I said the Lightning would win 3-1 in Game 4, and I said they'd win 2-1 in Game 5, and empty netters screwed me in the final minute out of both those calls, and I was one goal off both times.
Why aren't you allowing for empty netters in your predictions, Scott?
Well, I was, but you can only account for so much, you know. When you're about 2 minutes away from overtime and the Lightning score 2 goals in the final about minute 50, your prediction was pretty good, and it was, I believe, 18-1 for the 2-1, I think.
Yep.
Which, whatever, but it is what it is.
I understand. We missed out on the Red Sox as the Angels finally got off the schneid, as they were just waiting for a pitcher that could also hit home runs, and finally
they gave up a home run to Velasquez. Really?
Yeah. But the big blow was the 3-run dinger on
to Velasquez. The guy was 5'5".
That was I thought Ohtani hit that.
No, Ohtani hit a 2-run homer in the fifth.
He hit the 2-run homer. That's right.
And then Velasquez hit the 3-run homer, and I believe the 6th or 7th.
Mm-hmm. I said that right. I said that wrong on the other show. I thought it was the other way around. But yeah, it worked out well for them. Congratulations getting off the snide. Bien Trabajo is around. The Scott twins. Okay, cool. I felt every emotion while catching that Yankees cover. Never a doubt, buddy. 7-2 in the third inning, fourth inning. Okay,
Trabajo, you're underestimating the power of the game after theory.
Yep.
It's too powerful on my end, man. It's too powerful.
It cannot be beat. He can only hope to be contained. Fernando's not a big foreplay guy. He just wants us to go right in, just start plowing away. That's not how we do it here, man.
We're going to talk about it.
Oh, sure we will. We got shit to talk about though, man. Andrew says great undercall in the Ranger game, and that was we both had that. Was that your play of the day?
No, my play of the day was UFC related.
Oh,
I was going to do it, but I usually cut myself off at around 135 for minuses.
Yes.
And the Rangers under was around -140, -145. I would have given it out, but I wasn't sure if that was too juicy to give out, so I just decided to pass on it. But I mentioned on this show, how much I liked it.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Hopefully some of you tailed.
Yeah, we talked about that as well.
Do you have a rule when it comes to the most amount of juice you'll actually lay on like an individual play?
Depends on the sport, depends on the circumstances. But
well, I'm saying for YouTube purposes.
No, I mean, it depends on, you're talking about like just a straight under on a hockey or basketball game?
Like a YouTube play of the day video.
Oh, I try to keep it around 140 or so.
Yeah, so
I think my ceiling's
135.
I don't do many that high.
If it was 140, I would have given it out. But
now, having said that, I will probably give out some baseball plays that are 160 or so later in the season because the numbers just get outrageous. And there's some times where you just don't have the confidence in them to cover the run line. So you bet Fernando. Absolutely, buddy. Rye Cape says a good game to watch, the Yankees and the Twins. Yeah, if you're on the right side of it, absolutely. Magellan wants to know if the Royals can win 3 in a row. I wouldn't think so. But then again, I didn't think they could win 2 in a row. So what the fuck
Miracles
do I know?
happen every day.
You know, they're at home. They're starting to hit the ball a little bit. And Baltimore, maybe don't underestimate how much Baltimore actually sucks as well. Sure.
That was another game I liked yesterday. I said I liked the over, but I ended up not taking it.
Yeah. Well,
I also said the Marlins over was the runner-up for the farm play. Mm-hmm. And, of course, game after theory, the Marlins were obviously going to score about 7 runs, right?
Yep. No question about it. They put up 3 in the first.
Yep. Strasburg, welcome back.
Yeah, not good. Not good yet. So, Super Sly in the house. What's up, buddy? Celtics again today. That's kind of how I'm leaning, but we'll get Scott's opinion here in a little while. First, I want to take care of some housekeeping stuff. First and foremost, this is it. This is the last show that's going to be live on the YouTube network as far as Scott and I go. Starting Monday. What's that?
NASCAR.
Well, okay, correct. This will be the
last. The last back to the window.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man, being a smartass.
Man, As if having 4 kids isn't enough to fucking correct me when I make a tiny fucking tactical error. Appreciate you stopping by. Yes, it's the last Back to the Window that will be available on the YouTube the Winners and Winers YouTube channel. After this is going to be Max Wagers Network. So get over there while you're thinking about it right now. Just open up another window on your phone, on your computer, whatever, and get subscribed to the Max Wagers Network, because you're going to catch all the great content over there, like Midday Money with Sean Higgs, Morning Wood with Allie Burns, me and Chris, me and Scott, Sean Miller doing soccer from around the world, and, of course, Nick, Tim, and Detroit Lenny doing Game Time Decision. I believe Tim is probably at the East Carolina game today. Tim usually checks in with us, but I believe he's out there watching some baseball.
They still winning?
Gee, money in
I
the
saw
house.
it was
Big X is here.
7-5 in the 7th. I don't know if they're still winning or not.
It is now 8-5. They knocked in another one. So, well, do you have East Carolina there at 135?
I did not end up betting that game, but I know we talked on air. I think Texas is overrated. They fall apart every year. I said that when we had Earl on the show. And I said Texas is one of those teams that could be favored as much as you want. Doesn't matter what the sport is. We saw it in women's softball as well. They don't really lift many trophies. They just give you the illusion of lifting trophies.
Okay. All right. Well, that's...
I mean, of course, this year in college baseball, they were good, not amazing, but they were preseason number 1, weren't they?
I believe that's correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course, that didn't materialize. They've kind of underachieved for most of the season compared to what their initial expectations were, but
right.
I'm not surprised that they're losing in the first game of the Super Regional.
Francisco wants to know if we got any thoughts on the Dodgers in San Francisco. Eunice against Bueller. I would say Eunice. It's really Junis, but
I'm going with Junis there.
Okay.
Bueller's been struggling recently, and I know he's still 6-2.
Yeah.
The Giants, of course, have been a bit underwhelming this season. I mean, they set the bar pretty high last year, to put it lightly, but Bueller has been vulnerable for the last month or so.
Yeah, 12 earned in his last 3 starts, covering 14 in third innings. Not good.
So do you want to lay 155 with Bueller? I do not.
I don't. Chris liked laying the 150 there. I didn't see it. I think the Dodgers should be probably a small favorite here. You know, the Dodgers are going to be, they're going to roll out of bed minus 130, but Junis still is
hanging in there,
pitching pretty well, man. He had a little dip. He gave up a few runs, but he's been much better in his last 3 starts, giving up just 4 earned over his last 3 starts. I certainly don't want to lay 150 with the Dodgers. I would be perhaps interested in taking a small shot with the Giants there at plus money, getting plus 135 or so. I'm okay with that.
I think it's a good price.
Yeah.
Now, Trabal was mentioning Vince Young begs to differ about Texas. Just so people remember, Vince Young, that was 16 years ago. Just saying. That was 16. 2006. It's a great baseball game. I was hoping Vince Young would succeed in the pros. Didn't work out.
Great football game.
Sorry, I said baseball game.
Yeah.
Great football game. Shout out to Jeff Fisher for completely sabotaging Vince Young's career. But when you have to point to 16 years ago to talk about the triumphs of the Longhorns, I think my case stands. You?
Well, I do, because they've got much higher expectations than that in Austin. So
besides that, their ceiling was Colt McCoy, and they lost in the title game to Bama. That's basically been the peak of their football program for the last 15 years.
He still lives in 2006, unfortunately. East Carolina, the bullpen looking a little shaky there, JC. Absolutely correct. Yeah, no question about it. They did a nice job with their starter, but the bullpen looks like a college bullpen right now. It really does. So
live overs, all over the place, as far as the eye can see.
Hey, don't forget to check out the great deal we got with our pals over there at Caesars. $1,100 first bet insurance. Make your first bet your best bet. You got something you're locked in on. Maybe you got to play from that basketball game you know is going to cash tonight. This would be a good opportunity to exploit that. Get your account loaded up. Your first bet with Caesars, they will guarantee it up to $1,100. If you win your bet, congratulations, you just won your bet. But if you lose, Caesars will make you whole up to and including $1,100. Make sure you use the code ATSWINS-Caesar. That's ATSWINS-CZR. And it is available only in states where Caesars exists, of course. You must be 21 to play, except for Wyoming and New Hampshire. So check all that out in the description. You can get the code there as well as the link right to the promotion. So with that being said, let's take a look and see what happened yesterday, Scott. There was a lot of things going on. Some of the games we've already talked about, and some of them we have not talked about as of yet. So let's find out who it is, who took it in the shorts, and who took it to the bank. The winners and the whiners, if you will. You know who you are, but now we're going to bring the world on board and share your pain. It is the Friday edition of Call the Cops. Very good, Scott. We're going to get it rolling in the major leagues. If you had the Diamondbacks team total under 4.5 against the Reds, they had one run through the first 8 innings, and then that extremely explosive Diamondbacks offense took control as they put up 4 in the top of the 9th. They finished with 5 runs. Oh, team total under 4.5. Very close, but call the cops.
Yeah, the explosive Diamondbacks offense or the awful Reds bullpen. There are a couple ways to phrase that, but it still went over.
Yeah.
If you had the hockey game and you had the Lightning team total under 2.5 against the Rangers, it looked really good because they had 1 goal with less than 2 minutes left, and it looks like you're headed to overtime. Not so much. Palat deflects a shot in front of the net, and then you have the empty netter, and Tampa scored 2 goals in the final 110 seconds, and they finished with 3. So, yeah, not exactly a fun time.
And finishing up in the majors, if you had the Red Sox first 5 on the money line, they led 2-1 entering the bottom of the 5th. 1-2 count to Ohtani. Nope. Can't sneak one more by him. He had a 2-run homer. Boston takes the 3-2 lead after 5, and they never look back. If you had the Red Sox first 5 money line, full game money line, tear that shit up and call the cops.
And that was kind of a summary of how your bet went, right? Because
yes,
the Angels couldn't score, couldn't do anything, and then the pitcher hits a 2-run homer. That kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Brutal. Just absolutely brutal. So there was some good news out there. This is the place you want to be. This is if you have a pick. This is the segment that you want to be featured on. It's the nice, easy victories. It's the people that were able to sit back in their rocking chair, or sit back because why? They were sitting in the rocking chair. There you go.
Close enough.
Yeah,
so the first one, if you had the over 8.5 in the Dodgers and White Sox game, you had 11 runs in the first 5 innings. And Chicago's known for their wind, but not for their rain. So they played the entire game, and it landed 20.
Very good. If you had the Yankees Twins over 8.5, didn't have to watch this one long. Although if you had a side, you certainly should have, because they put up 9 in the first 2 innings, Scott. 9. I believe that was a 7-2 lead for the Twins, if I'm not mistaken, was that 9 runs. But no worries. Here come the Yankees. 8 unanswered runs. That game ends up 10-7 and 17, doubling up your over of 8.5.
And the last one, if you had the Marlins on the money line or the run line, because of course they did game after we had them, they led 7-2 after 5 innings, and they won 7-4.
Look at this. Now, yesterday we had to kind of force one in there because we hadn't had one in a while, and then lo and behold, just a few hours later, one of them showed up, and it couldn't have been more obvious. I knew you would want to talk about this.
Of course.
Let's find out who it is. It's Scott. And I'm gonna let him do this one as we find out it's the Friday edition of Donkey of the Day. Scott, old man yells at clouds and reporters. Tell us about it.
So we're gonna go back to one of the rocking chairs with that Dodgers and White Sox game, and we're gonna go to Chicago manager Tony La Russa, who hopefully did not drive to the ballpark, but he might have been intoxicated during the game because his decision-making made absolutely no sense. There was a spot where Trey Turner was up, and they decided to pitch to him. A couple of people on base. Okay, I've seen worse decisions. And they got to 1-2, exactly where you want it to be for a count.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing you know, they decided to intentionally walk him
Give me three.
on a 1-2 count to pitch to Muncy, and Muncy hit a 3-run homer 5 pitches later. Then, to make matters worse, La Russa defended his decision, which I don't fully understand, but...
Can we say he defended it with vigor? Can we see he gave a spirited defense of his position, Scott?
I guess you can say that. He was talking about batting averages and percentages involving Turner with people with basically he was mentioning a bunch of scenarios, but he just didn't account for a couple of variables. One, why would you even throw any pitches to him if you're going to walk him anyway?
Right.
Two, I mean, you're looking at Turner's numbers with a 1-2 count.
What's he hitting? What's he hitting at 1-2? Yeah.
It's not good.
No, of course not.
So the whole thing made no sense.
Yes, anytime you're facing an 0-2 or 1-2 count, I'm guessing your average probably drops off by 100 points,
give or take.
Something.
I forgot the exact number, but
but
they showed it. Turner's numbers with 1-2 counts are not very good.
Nobody's are.
But I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't try to get one more strike on the guy. I don't get it.
It may not be the dumbest fucking thing I'll hear all week, but
it's bad.
It's the leader in the clubhouse at this point. So, yeah, and you kind of touched on it. It was more is just his attitude in the postseason press conference, just the arrogance to even question. I mean, he made it sound like you had a guy swinging away with the bases loaded. It was like it's just such a no-brainer. Why would you even ask me such a stupid fucking question? What are you morons? And I think everybody in the press room was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Because it was. Can you remember that happening ever?
On a 1-2 count?
Yes, on a 1-2 count.
I think the only time it might have ever happened would be if you had first and second, and then you had a double steal or something.
Yeah, if there had been a change, sure.
Like, all right, we need a double play or something.
Okay.
But in this situation, no.
But, even then, with the 1-2 count?
Even then, it's a stretch, but I'm thinking of hypotheticals. That's the only situation I could think of.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was just the arrogance and the attitude. I was a proponent. Apparently, I'm a little more patient than you, and that's worked out well for you this season because there hasn't been much patience in the big leagues. So it's possible he doesn't make it to the end of the year, Scott. If the White Sox don't rally the ship here, I thought if they played mediocre baseball, he would probably be able to survive the year. But if they went into a slump, could be the All-Star game. May not take as big a slump as I thought. It may not take much at all to get them to cut bait. With
I thought that
La
Russa was a terrible hire at the time.
That's right.
I thought he should have been fired after what happened last year. Truth is, after he basically caused Mercedes to quit on the sport, I thought he might end up getting fired.
Right.
But they brought him back, and I said my favorite win total for the AL Central was the White Sox under, because I thought La Russa would run the team into the ground.
Yep.
And so far, he's been running the team into the ground.
Yep.
So,
agreed.
We'll see.
Agreed. Very good. All right, my friend. Well,
do you think they should fire him right now? Or do you still think you should wait it out? Because I don't know what you're waiting for.
What's our record? 3 under, 5 back.
In that division?
Yeah, see, that's the problem, man, is I give him to the All-Star break.
Okay.
If you're not 500 by the All-Star break, or if you're double digits back, well, number one, you've waited too long, but he's got to go. He's got to go.
So let me ask you a question, though. If you were the GM of a team,
mm-hmm.
and your manager has that decision followed by that press conference,
yep.
Are you personally waiting till the All-Star break, or are you firing him immediately?
It bumped me up quite a bit. It bumped me up my timetables quite a bit. I think I'm not sure. It's kind of tricky because you don't necessarily want to be seen as reacting to just that one thing.
I think it's worth reacting to be honest.
I'm not going to lie. You could make a case for it. I don't necessarily agree from a PR standpoint, but you could certainly make a very good case that he should be fired because of that.
It's not as bad as Herm Edwards' miracle at the Meadowlands. Like, you're going to hand the ball off when you can kneel it.
Right.
Like, he got fired immediately. They might have thrown him off the team plane while they were in flight.
Who was the coach of that team?
I am completely drawing a blank.
Okay.
I know he never coached again. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
But I don't think it's as bad. Like, that's an all-time bad decision.
Yep.
But short-term memory, this is one of the worst decisions I've seen in a while.
Yep. All right, let's check in with the comment section here a little bit. B.N. Trabajo wants to know if Caesars has a Presbyterian football. Asking for a friend, Scott. You want to tell him or should I?
You want to do the honors?
He's out. He's out. He's not coaching there anymore, man.
He wasn't fired, though.
No,
Let's be clear. They lost by 70 points on average, and he was not fired.
Nope. He left to pursue other opportunities. So we'll see. I want to see where he lands. But
I'm assuming we can't bet on wherever he's going to land. High school?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
But Presbyterian, it was a hell of a run. It was a glorious year.
It's a great season.
But, yeah, the dream's dead. So Presbyterian, you're going to have to wave from a distance because we're not touching the overs, and they're going to be nowhere near 75.
So, yeah, see, here's the thing. Like, on paper, doing the shows, I struggled college football season. In reality, in real life, I made a fair amount of money because I loaded up on a lot of fucking games like that.
Yeah.
You know, but when you and I did the show, they just count as one win.
Mm-hmm.
But in real life, they may count 10x. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Got any thoughts on USC winning the Pac-12 this year?
For football, the thing is, do you think it's going to take any time for Lincoln Riley's system to fully be implemented, or do you think they just got so many transfers? Who cares? They'll figure it out because they're so talented.
I give them a year. I think they'll be competitive.
I think the argument would be yes, because of course Oregon had serious head coaching changes,
right?
And a lot of recruits went with him. Now, for the record, I don't think that Oregon's coach was very good from an X's and O's perspective, but he was a hell of a recruiter. I'm sure Miami's going to recruit very well. We'll see what happens over there. But Oregon should have a bit of a down year. Whittingham's Utah team's very good. They're also very senior heavy. So I'm assuming they lost a lot of talent from that team.
Yep.
And Chip Kelly's Chip Kelly.
Let me puss out and say they make it to the conference championship game.
But I was going to say, from process of elimination, though, if you're expecting down years from the other top-tier teams, doesn't USC have a pretty decent path?
Sure. Yeah. They play in the right division for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, JR, Presbyterian is no more. Yeah, it was a one season, man. I hope you guys were with us. I hope you were on it when we were doing our college football show, because we were on it early and often.
I still think we were the only actual program that was talking about it.
I never heard it anywhere else.
I never heard it anywhere else, and it cashed at like an 80-something% clip.
It was beautiful. Magellan Sports, we talked about it the day after it hit Magellan, but I don't think you were here, so we'll give you your proper props about the first bucket that you had for Looney. Paid, he said 30-1. So
yeah, I believe it was 15-1 when he talked about it. Looney layup was 30-1.
Oh, okay.
If you count that as a layup, I don't really know what type of shot Looney took. He was doing several pivot 360s and then closed his eyes and threw it at the rim. I guess that counts as a layup, but I don't really know what type of shot that was.
It hit the glass?
I know Magellan hit me up on Twitter yesterday. He had a very nice day. Hit a couple of big parlays, so congratulations, Magellan. Nice job cashing those.
No problem. JR Black says we were the only ones, so thank you, buddy. We'll take that victory lap. That was well earned, and we were out there definitely in front of everybody. So
yep.
Very good. Fernando says thank you for USC. Absolutely. So Scott, let's talk a little bit about the basketball game tonight. Golden State remains on the road there in Boston for Game 4. They did their thing in the third quarter, but other than that, they were pretty much completely disappointing, including 11 points in the fourth quarter of Game 3. You know, they thought it was bad when they scored, 15, 16 in the first game. They're like, well, hold my beer because we can fucking do worse than that. They put up 11. Still got over, though, by the way.
Not the team total, but the full game went over.
Yeah. Told you, Chris, I like I'll play the Golden State team total under again here at 105. I probably have more confidence in that, the full game under. How do you feel about it? What's your favorite play?
It's really tricky. I think we would agree if Golden State loses this game, the series is over.
Yes.
So if you're expecting a veteran team to respond when they really need to have a quote-unquote perfect game, this would be your spot.
Yep.
especially since I know the majority of the public is probably on, what do you think, Golden State or Boston? Because people are automatically attracted to plus money, but that game was pretty, I can't say it was fully one-sided because Golden State had the third quarter comeback.
Right.
But Boston dominated, what, like 80% of the game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think the public just chases plus money, or do you think they overreact to what happened in Game 3 and take Boston?
I think they probably overreact, and that appears to be where the money's headed. It looks like Boston is generating the majority of bets and money on them. So you agree with that? I know you liked Golden State before. You laid out a pretty good case about being the veteran team, having more depth. And
well, the issue, of course, was going to be the size on the interior. And I knew Golden State did not have that, but I was hoping that Golden State would be able to overcome it. I mean, realistically, Golden State should be up 2-1 because they punted Game 1. So the series would be completely different if Golden State didn't choke that first home game. But I'll tell you one thing I don't understand. I don't know how Golden State is plus money for third quarter money line. Can you explain that to me? I know you want to correlate it to the full game.
Yeah.
You got to bare minimum have Golden State minus 1.5 in the third quarter.
That's what I laid last time, and the spread was almost exactly the same.
I saw it was plus 106 for Warriors third quarter this morning.
See, I couldn't find it. We looked it up on DraftKings Live during the show, and they had all the other quarters with odds. They had nothing in that space.
FanDuel had it.
So it was either pick 'em or they didn't have a number for it. So
FanDuel had plus 106. I don't get it.
Yeah, I this is the play that I made the other day. If you guys watch my videos, I'm not going to double up and tell you the case again, but I want to say it's 13-5 now, and they've been winning the third quarter by an average. It was 6.5 going in. They won it by 8 the other night, so your average is going to be somewhere 6.7, something like that per quarter, per third quarter. So if you like Golden State, I would narrow it down to the third quarter. And again, not everything can be explained. Not every trend you find, because when you and I talk, when Chris and I talk, and you throw out a number, I often like to go behind that number and try to explain what that means and what drives that number like that. So this one, I can't really explain it, Scott. Do you have a rational explanation for this third quarter dominance by Golden State?
I think the point is that Golden State really just has great halftime adjustments by Kerr. Also, we know Golden State's extremely talented, so sometimes Golden State will come out with a lack of focus, which is why they tend to get killed in the first quarter. That's not selective recall. They've really been an underwhelming first quarter team pretty much the entire playoffs. So I think it's a mix of just good coaching and some lackluster efforts in the first half,
right,
which have resulted in some quality adjustments being made for the third quarter.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, that's where I would go. If you want to look for Boston fourth quarter, maybe. I think I'm actually taking Golden State tonight.
Okay.
It's a spot where I understand people are going to automatically ride Boston. They're at home, and they dominated in pretty much the majority of Game 3. But I've seen Boston have a couple of really big wins this postseason, and the game after, they basically no-show. And I don't know why that's the case, but Boston has been known to drastically underperform the game after big wins. And if you're going to give me a veteran team that needs to have it, I think you make a good case for taking the contrarian angle here.
Okay. Fair enough. I get it. I think
it's a tougher call than people are making it out to be. That's all I'm saying.
No, I know. But, Boston has dominated the majority of these games. If it wasn't for the third quarter, it would be just absolute blowouts here. So,
but does it concern you at all that Boston has had a history in the postseason of having these big get-up games and then immediately just punting the game after?
I don't love it, but until I see it in the finals, I mean, they did it obviously in Golden State. As they came out with a big victory in Game 1, and then kind of shit the bed. They kind of Amber Hearded it in the second game. So I will be curious to see if that trend continues at home. I like the fact that they're at home. I still think there's value on this Boston team. I'm going to ride the other way, Scott. I faded you the other night with Golden State.
I'm not going to criticize you. I think Boston's the better team.
No, it's the same.
And it's about spots.
And it's the same with Golden State, because I totally get it about this is. Yeah, we hate to do it. Can you call it the must-win?
No, it is a must-win. I think we would agree Golden State is not talented or deep enough to come back from 3-1 down.
I would not imagine Scott Foster is the referee tonight, Bill, after refereeing the other night. Have you heard the referee crew for tonight?
I believe I did. Let me just see what I can get.
Okay.
I know for a fact it's not Scott Foster.
But Bronco says Boston tonight, so much better bench. Yeah, that's become the case, and we talked about it before the series that we kind of thought Golden State might have had a little bit of a better bench, but that has not been the case. As Poole hasn't been good. Wiggins
Poole's been okay.
He's been fine, but Wiggins has been certainly below what he was in the rest of the playoffs.
I'm just expecting Marcus Smart to suck again tonight. He had one good game. Now he's obligated to have a bad game. And, yeah, we've seen this movie before. I said the most important player in the series was Marcus Smart because if he shoots well, Boston's almost impossible to beat.
Yeah.
The issue is when he shoots terribly, he shoots really, really badly, and Boston tends to lose. So keep an eye on that.
Because either way, he's going to keep shooting. So
yeah, he's going to keep shooting no matter what. So just keep that in mind. But
by the way,
I've not gone through the correlations of parlaying or fading Boston with Smart under in points, but I'm sure you've made a killing if you've done that this postseason.
Yeah, that would seem to be a pretty good correlated parlay for sure. By the way, East Carolina stretching it out now, 12-7, still just one out, runner on second base.
Open it up.
I feel like I couldn't believe it went to 175 today. I got 135 yesterday, and I was thrilled.
It's all about reputation, man.
It is. It's you're paying a little Texas tax there, as everybody knows Texas, and people think about East Carolina, and they think about their football team or their basketball team, and think, but it's good. It's a good baseball team. I doubt if I would be as hip to East Carolina as I am without Tim Earl around. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fair too.
All right, my friend. So you and I and where are you at for the total?
For the total, it's a little bit tricky because the last game went over because of the pace, and I'm curious what adjustments Golden State is going to make. I think I have to lean over, just because of how much faster Boston played, and it barely went over. But the fourth quarter was disgusting.
Yeah, that was.
Throw that out.
Yeah, when you say that barely went over, it is true, but it should have gone over by easily double digits.
It was a rare rocking chair over that cashed by like 5 points.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But I'm going to lean over there. My play today was a prop. Money's actually coming against me, which I find a little bit surprising.
Okay.
I took the over 7.5 rebounds for Looney.
Okay.
I don't know why there's been money on the under, because Golden State's only answer on the glass is playing Looney more minutes. So when it comes to what adjustments Golden State is going to make, wouldn't you agree that would involve playing Looney more because Williams and Horford have been killing you?
Yes, you have to try to counter those two for sure.
So I'm assuming Looney's going to play 25 minutes, and if that's the case, give me the best rebound on the team by far.
Yep, absolutely true. Andrew has loaded up on East Carolina. Had him at 125 yesterday, 165 today, 175 today. Just fucking keep piling them up, buddy. Very good, very good. All right, so I think we're diametrically opposed here, Scott. We're on different sides of this game completely. So
I have other plays that I like more than the side, but
I get that.
Once again, I don't blame you for going with Boston. I mean, they've looked like the better team.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the spot, saying if you want to go for a contrarian angle and fade a team that's tended to struggle backing up quality performances, I don't mind it. I would probably wait to see what Curry's ankle status is. Of course, he's going to play, but I kind of want to see how he looks in warm-ups, etc.
Right.
But, I would lean Golden State because it's a game they kind of need to have, and Boston's had these spots, which kind of scare me.
Okay. Let's take a look at the baseball card. JR, is there any game you want us to take a look at in particular? Because we got the full card tonight. Promise you we're not going to talk about 15 games. So if you got anything in particular, I'll wait for a response. Scott, what do you like tonight? Do you think the Royals can win 3 straight behind?
Anything's possible.
Behind Heasley tonight?
I don't mind it. Kansas City's offense has been good. The thing is, if you think both pitchers are going to be awful, then you might as well take the team that's been hitting better lately, and that's Kansas City.
Yeah.
So I'll lean to the Royals there. Looking through the other lines, it wasn't exactly a great card today. By
the way, Zimmerman has been dreadful his last 4. He's been
awful.
I looked at any game of the series that I thought Kansas City should win, it would be this one when you're fading Zimmerman. So
besides that, I'm looking at. I know the Wind is going to be pushing out, but I don't mind the first 5 under in that Guardians and A's game.
Okay.
Blackburn hasn't been as good recently, but he's still a solid pitcher. And you have McKenzie, who's been really good. So I don't mind a first 5 under about 4.5, if you can find that, because both pitchers have been pretty good. And both offenses are okay. I know Cleveland's offense is top 10, but a lot of it was front-loaded, wasn't it?
Yes.
So they've kind of cooled back down. Besides that, I already mentioned Junis at plus money. I don't mind. What else do I like? I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I guess the Rays getting about even money. I mean, Minnesota just used half their bullpen against the Yankees yesterday.
Yeah.
And it didn't go too well. Tampa has been good this season. They're doing Tampa-like things. Half the team's injured. Nobody cares. They keep winning. And they're somehow 11 over, and nobody's talked about them for 3 months.
Yep, fair enough. I like Smeltzer. He gives you some.
I like him too, but Minnesota's bullpen's been struggling.
The thing about Smeltzer is he gives you some length. You should be able to get into the 6 with him. That's why I said keep an eye. I talked about it on Chris's show. If you want to bet that game live, keep an eye on Smeltzer's pitch count. If he's averaging 17 to 20 pitches first 3 innings, load up on Tampa Bay. That's totally going to be a situational play for me, based on how much of a Minnesota bullpen we get involved. Magellan said Gallen's going to continue his kind of a little bit of his slide, and going to get knocked out by the Phillies. Phillies are.
I just can't get in the way of the Phillies because they've won 6 in a row, and it seemed like the manager firing was the exact spark they needed.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of those rare times.
I like Gallen a lot, but I acknowledge he has not been as dialed in lately as he was to start the season, and the Phillies have been really good. So
very good.
I'm with you there.
Bill wants to know if anybody else is on France today. You on France, Scott?
My on France, they're still winless in the actual competition, which is kind of weird, but I also don't really know what this tournament is because most of these teams, if not all of them, have already qualified for the World Cup.
Right.
So this is kind of like a tune-up situation.
Right.
And it seems like France has been totally disinterested for the entire tournament, and they're down 1-0 to Austria. I guess I wouldn't mind taking France potentially to score next or to potentially win 2-1, but they're still currently without a win in the tournament. It just seems like France isn't fully interested in actually winning this tournament. The motivation just doesn't seem to be there.
Fair enough. By the way, JC, yes, I am a permanent member of the Parlays show, at least until further notice. So you're stuck with me, my friends. Anything else on the card for tonight, bud?
Not really. Once again, it's not the greatest card in the world. Covered pretty much everything for the most part.
I got some bad news for you, man. This is as good as it's going to get here after the playoffs are over because it's a full card Friday. It's 15 games.
Yep. Going to be a fun time.
So, very good. What's your favorite bet tonight, man?
My play of the day.
And what is that?
Looney over 7.5 rebounds.
Okay. And even though everybody's fading you, you're still okay with that?
I don't get why there's money on the under. I'm trying to think of what adjustments Golden State can make. You're getting killed on the glass by 16 in Game 3. Are you supposed to go smaller? Is Draymond not supposed to be terrible? Like, I don't know what answers you have. You have to use Looney more.
Can we talk about Draymond for just a minute, Scott? Is that
if you want to.
Is that the number one problem that you see right now with this Golden State team?
It's not that I don't know if it's the number one problem because you still have the lack of size in the first place,
right?
And they're extremely compromised at the backup center position. But Draymond's been awful, and I think that when your third best player is playing this badly, you're not going to win many playoff series, especially in the NBA Finals. Now, I'm not going to blame the podcast or anything like that because I have better things to do. I don't have time to waste for complaining about him.
He's got too many podcasts to do
because of a podcast. I just think the issue is that Draymond, ever since the back issue, either this year or even a couple of years ago, he can't shoot.
Yeah.
And we talked about how Golden State's basically playing 4-on-5 every offensive possession because you can leave him wide open at the 3-point line And Draymond's not going to look at the rim. So I do think it's because of Draymond, but not because of the distractions and the physical play and whatever, but it's because he can't shoot. And Boston could basically ignore him, double team people that jump into the paint, collapse the defense, and tell Draymond have fun and give him the Ben Simmons treatment. That's my main takeaway. You?
Yeah, I'm the same way. And he is just a black hole in the lineup. And as far as offense goes, and Scott, he hasn't been that good defensively either. He's got more.
No.
As Chris pointed out, he's got more personal fouls than points. That's pretty much the definition of a bad series. So, all right, my friend. Well, you know what? Let's get to it. We've got a special play cooked up for Friday. I think it's going to have a mixed reaction here, Scott, but we're going to find out what it is because it is a good play, and I'm a big fan of this one. So let's get right to it, shall we? As we, for the last time this week, we strap on our overalls, we grab our straw hats, we climb aboard our John Deeres, we pull out our keys, and we fire that bad boy up because, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is time to bet the farm. All right, Scott. Well, we have rumored this look. We have talked about doing this. We have threatened to do it. We've said we should have done it. Well, today we're finally going to do it. What do we got cooked up for Bet the Farm today?
So for this one, we are going to go to the WNBA. And we are going to take a team total in this one. We are going to take the Liberty over 80.5 at around minus 125, shop around. But we like the Liberty team total over. The Liberty have scored at least 86 points in each of the first two meetings this season. And the Fever easily have the worst defense in the league. Indiana has allowed at least 85 points in 10 of its last 11 games. And the Fever rank number 1 in pace and dead last in defensive efficiency. So they play the exact way you want to because they can't guard anybody and they shoot the ball very quickly. And the over is 6-2-1 in Indiana's last 9 home games. But 80.5 for a team total is just too low, and we're going to take the over. We think they should get to 85.
There you go. And some days, Scott and I, we trade back and forth about who suggests what. Some days you don't know who made the what pick. This is not one of those days. You know who brought the WNBA pick to me and who initiated this one. So very good. I like it. You lay out a great case. We're here to find winners, baby. We ain't here to match the TV schedule. We're looking for the best play every day, and I think we've got that right here. So get down on the New York Liberty team total over 80.5. That's going to do it for the farm. That's going to do it for the show. That's going to do it for the week, and that's going to do it for us on the Winners and Winers YouTube channel. So as Scott so aptly pointed out, we have one more show on the Winners and Winers YouTube channel, and that's coming up right after this commercial break. No commercials. We'll be back at the top of the hour. We're going to be doing it live as kind of old time's sake. We'll be doing our NASCAR show live with Scott, Chris, and our friend Rye Cape. So make sure you stop by and check that out. But if you can't make that, make sure you stop by and check Scott and I out on the Max Wagers Network Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern at 2 p.m. Central as we once again will do our very best to help you guys in that journey to head back to the window. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.